Thank you all for coming today. I really appreciate, your assistance in correcting this information that was disseminated last night. Last night, it was indicated on the television network that we were going to be increasing the police chief's salary. It was not an increase. It was just to bring him back to his base salary, as well as the two captains. Some of our council members indicated that this would be an increase in salary and it would affect the budget. It certainly did not affect the budget because the money is already in the police fund. And also, they indicated as well that we were doing this 2 months prior to the budget. Well, first of all, I was Budget and Finance Chair, and I certainly would not do anything to jeopardize to get a balanced budget for the city of Harrisburg. This police chief has taken upon himself, when he came in to be the police chief, to take the lower salary because of the financial crisis that we have. So it was only fair to bring him back to his base salary as well as the two captains. And as well, as far as giving any increases, the city of Harrisburg is not going to give any increases until they give everybody across the board increases, and that's all the unions. So that I wanted to clarify that this afternoon and make sure that the public knows that this is the intent of City Council. And I'll take any questions that you have.
Wanda, can you explain a little bit more why you feel this is an important distinction? It might sound like semantics, like, yeah, he took a pay cut, so anything above what he's getting paid now may seem like a raise, but again, that raise and restoration, two big important words in your mind. Can you explain more?
Well, when the chief came in, of course, we did not have the money to bring him to his base salary of $94,000. So the police chief took it upon himself to take the lower salary of $87,000. I've been in conversations with the receiver, both Lynch and Fred Reddick, and asked that the chief be restored to his base salary. We didn't at the time have the funds available. March 1st, after the receivership was ended, we talked about it several times with Mr. Reddick, and I even spoke with Mayor Pamphus. Each month he indicated that he would make sure that we bring the chief back to his base salary. So when we got the amendment to do for our fire chief, I wanted to include the police chief as well.
When do you think that'll end up going through?
I'm hoping that the mayor will bring it through again, or do another amendment to make sure to rectify the wrong that he has caused, that they have caused.
Before the next budget goes through, or put it into the next budget?
Well, we can put it into the next budget. I'm not going to fight about that. We have the funds available, and it won't affect the budget. Right now, there's other things affecting our budget.
So why was it such a big debate last night if the money is already there for the other council members?
I think council members had it in their minds that this was going to affect the budget. They thought that this was a pay increase. Instead of speaking with myself or even with the finance manager, which they did not do, they incorrectly stated that this was going to affect the budget and this was a pay increase. I will not do a pay increase if I'm not going to do it across the board for each of the unions. The unions here, the union employees here have not had an increase in the 3 to 4 years. So I certainly would not make sure that they don't get an increase as well.
I know that specifically you had concern with the public works area and why they were not looked at as the chief has been here in the city for such a long time. Have you guys talked at all? I forget exactly what his name is.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes,
Director?
excuse me. Have you talked at all since last night?
Regarding his salary?
No, regarding why he voted against this.
Mr. Johnson? Who are you talking about?
The
Are you talking about
on
the
council
committee
member,
chair?
Yes, excuse
No,
me, committee
sir,
chair.
no. You're talking about council member
Because I know you
Jeff
guys were at
Baltimore.
odds last night.
Councilmember Jeff Baltimore?
Yes.
I don't think Mr. Baltimore was informed well enough, to make that decision to vote that down. And it just concerned me that he's the committee chair of that public safety, and he would vote that down without getting more information. He was under the impression that this was a pay increase, and this would affect the budget. Matter of fact, the thing that's going to affect the budget is the $50,000 that we're losing each month because we have not did the amendments on the Strong Plan.
So this is kind of a bigger deal than what it seems to be?
They
See,
try.
but you just kinda
It's a
made-
bigger deal than they made it a bigger deal. It wasn't a big deal.
Because you're talking about like $6,500 or something like that, correct?
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
So for $6,500, which
It's
is a
not a big
fraction of
deal.
1% of the city's overall budget, is this kind of a lot to do about
It doesn't,
nothing?
now let me just make this clear. It does not come out of the city's budget. It doesn't affect the budget. It's in the police department's budget. The money is already available. We've never had a cost savings until recently, and we found out we do have money available to make sure that we bring the base pay back for the 2 captains and the police chief. We're not taking any money from any other departmental or any general fund revenues. It's in the police pension, police budget.
What's the police chief's opinion on this?
Well, I haven't spoken to the police chief as of yet, since last night. I know he walked out of the meeting last night. And I was really very concerned about that.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Sure.
You just mentioned something about the strong plan and
Yes.
the loss of, could you explain that? I'm not quite sure what you meant.
Well, we were supposed to do the amendments. We, for about 6 or 7 months, we were to do the amendments on the strong plan that affected the incinerator, parking, and the sewer and water. We have not been able to do that because we did not have the legislation down in City Council office. So Monday, I'm going to have a meeting November the 3rd at 5:30 to address that issue.
And what was the amount of funding? Are we losing money or is it not?
They said we're losing like $50,000 per month. I talked to Mr. Reddick yesterday, and he assured me that as soon as we do this, we have to do this before November the 1st to make sure that we will be able to pay the debt fund.
And is that money being put somewhere else so that once you do pass these amendments, that all that money will come back to the city?
And
or
that's
is it
why we're
lost
having,
forever?
that's why we're having the meeting on Monday to make sure that we can find out where the $50,000 is going to and why we're losing that money.
And that's a council meeting?
Council meeting and administration meeting at 5:30.
Thank you.
And
That's the
how
only
long
thing-
has the city been losing out on that 50,000?
Probably about 6 months. Probably about 6 months. Since March the 1st, we've been asking for the legislation to come down to do that, to do those amendments to the ordinance that are structured around the strong plan.
So the city's out about 300 grand.
At this point, we don't know where the money is at, but we're certainly sure that we're losing that money if we don't do those necessary amendments.
And is there restrictions on that money? Could it go into the general budget of the city of Harrisburg or is it specifically set for a certain?
At Monday, we will find out where exactly that money goes to.
And Fred Reddick will be here?
Mr. Reddick will be present at the meeting,
And these amendments come from,
the strong plan.
they come from the strong plan.
Yes.
You said you were waiting for the legislation to.
Yes, we haven't received the legislation to date.
The
So we're-
legislation from whom?
From your solicitor's office,
So the
from our
city-
solicitor's office.
So the city solicitor.
City solicitor. We didn't have the staff available to do all the recommendations and all the amendments that are attached to the strong plan. And so now that we have a full staff in the solicitor's office, we must do it by November the 1st in order to have the money available to pay for the debt service.
Bonnie, can you just talk a little bit more about the budget? I mean, the city announced its first balanced budget. I think-
We have not had an opportunity to see the budget as of yet,
Okay.
okay?
So you don't know if it's balanced in your eyes?
Well, we'll see if it's budget balanced. He's indicating that it's balanced, so we haven't had a copy of the budget as of yet. Of course, you know we don't do that till November. We won't get a copy of that.
Hearing that it might be balanced.
Well, again, I'll say, I hope it's balanced because this is what the council members are relating to the fact that this is why they didn't want to do the increase, the base salary that paid to the chief because they didn't want to unbalance the budget.
So you feel like last
That
night...
that was their reasoning.
Gotcha. So you feel like last night council members were making decisions without being informed first?
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
Because they don't have the budget in front of them?
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Can you explain the captain's pay, or were they below their base also? Or what-
Yes, about 5,500. About 5,500 from
So
their
what,
base
the
pay.
number that's in the budget for their pay, they are being paid?
5,500 less than what they should have been
And
brought in
why
as a
was-
captain's salary.
And why was it, and just, it's exclusive to the captains and the chief, that,
Those three, just those three at home.
do you know why that was, that they are, because you mentioned the chief said
We
no.
didn't have the money at the time when we made them the captains to give them the 5,500 additional for their base pay.
And you said you'd like to see a raise across the board for all the unions?
All the unions, yes, they haven't had a raise in 3 years.
There's money for that?
Well, we have to see that. When we have a balanced budget, as the administration said, this is going to be a balanced budget. I like to see that.
All right.
Anything else?
Okay, thank you all very much, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lon.